I was invited by Ubisoft to the Gamescom this year to play the brand new area in Anno Pax Romana 117, Albion, which is the second area, the more Celtic one in the realms of Great Britain. And I did also decide to go for the Celtic building way, more about that in the video, but you can see I did manage to build a thriving town, and yes, there is a way to watch it all in first person, which is also pretty cool, but there is so much more to talk about because there's loads of news about Anno in today's video, so stick with me while I'll talk you through. Also, if you are fans of uncut raw material, I'm gonna upload my full 1 hour gameplay tomorrow without any sounds or whatever of my weird noise. It's just gonna be the pure gameplay. If you're fancy for that one, stick to the channel, make sure to subscribe to don't miss out on anything Anno related or other games related. So let's get into it. So first of all, let's talk about the biome and the map. This is in stark contrast to the very sunny Mediterranean area you get to see in the original area. This Albion is really more British weather, lots of rain, swarms, or marshlands I should call them, but the maps do look equally amazing. There's a lot of interesting nature going on, which you can make use of, we'll get to that in a second, but it is very, very nice looking, and I think it's very cool to have that balance between the two areas. I absolutely love it, and yeah, so this is definitely something I noticed from the beginning, even though the rain started to annoy me later on, but hey, I mean, it's Britain, right? That's just how it is. Next up is actually the beginning in the Albion area. So actually also Ubisoft confirmed to me that the starting is a little bit more complicated because faster and more dense. As soon as you've managed to go from the first to the second tier, we're going to talk in the next block about the tiers, it will be very much more demanding all of a sudden. You get way more options to choose from, way more different production chains to choose from, and you really have to decide what you're going to do with the marshlands or not. Marshlands is something we have to talk about as well in the next point, but it's super important to notice that there's a lot more options you have, and also you need to decide for different goddess at some point, which makes it equally more important to really have an idea to where you go, but we will talk about goddesses in a dedicated point. But let's talk about the different tiers first of all. We have got 5 different ones to choose from, but actually there are only 3 tiers to reach. Because there are 5, because after the first one, which is the wader, you have as the first basic building, they can be then translated into either the smithy or the smith or the mercator or mercador. Now, the smith obviously is a Celtic way to go, and the mercador is the one going for the more Roman-leaning kind of culture. It has to be said though that the idea is that it's not like you're inhabitant from Roman people coming from Rome. No, it's basically the people, the local people transferring or kind of changing their religion and stuff towards a more Roman guided way of living, which some of them may want to do because of the advantages that the Romans come with, but a lot of other ones don't want to do it. So you have to really balance that out depending on which kind of people you have and how their tendency towards kind of, you know, belief is and so on. So there has to be a certain balance. And yes, you can have both on one island. Unfortunately, in that our time frame, it wasn't possible. Also, it wasn't possible in that build. I actually reached the point where I could have done this, but unfortunately, it was locked. So when you go to the third tier, which I wasn't able to get to, and I also forgot how exactly they were called, you basically have that one who's feeling almost like Roman one, and then you've got the other one who is like fully Celtic, but still kind of goes along with the Romans being there. So they kind of do add up to each other. You can have both on a island together, but then you also have to have different districts, you know, with different kind of tier buildings, because that is something else we need to talk about in the next point, which is the differences between the two routes you can take. But before we do so, we have to talk about the Marchlands. So the Marchlands, or swarms, however you want to call them, they are dedicated to this region. Albion comes with this very specific biome, and in this biome you can have a lot of buildings from the get-go. You'll be able to have some eel production, you need to put your kind of cows and animals in here to create some cheese, but you will also obviously have to farm some reeds over there that you will then transform into clothing, which is the basic tier clothing that you can make tunics and shoes from. So that is a super important biome to have from the get-go. But if you decide then to go to the Roman way, there will be an option to drain the marshlands and turning into a very fruity, nice and nutritious area that is basically offering you the necessary ground soil to, for example, do some wonderful farming of crops and so on, which usually isn't possible on these maps because the maps just don't have the fertility of that, but you can turn it over. It's almost like a little bit of a Noria back in the Anno 1404 one, which I was a big fan of. So you can basically terraform the region to what you want to have it to. Also, speaking of water, yes, you will be able, also the way more you go into the Roman way, you'll be able to have more kind of viaducts and stuff like that to have transportation of water. But then again, some Celtic people may not want this. What also this brings is, if you go to a more Roman way of living, this is more prone to fires and stuff, because they have also some certain things in there which is more leaning towards burning maybe, and then you have the chance to put more firehouses down and stuff like that. But at the same time, if you go for the Celtic way of doing it, the smiths come with a way better craft ability. They are very good at crafting, so you basically have better tools, you've got better weaponry, which is then better for combat but also for building, and you get some very nice buildings that have a very positive effect on kind of work heavy production chains that come with a huge effect on them if you go for the Celtic way. So both of the ways have a very good advantage in going towards the future of your town. As I did go for the Celtic way of doing it, we can see that I unlocked a couple of buildings that came in very handy later on, a medic building and stuff like that, because also you'll be prone to some diseases on these islands. So that is a very interesting way of playing it, and I honestly was already pretty stressed out by all the options I had. And yes, as always, there are going to be side quests as well, but that should be no big surprise. What I couldn't really test out in this specific build, because I just didn't go there, was the trading options in this region. Because in this region you will be again able to trade with two different people, and it shall not be too surprising that also those two people are exactly the kind of mirror, reflecting the two ways of moving towards more Celtic or more Roman prone way of doing it. So the one female character is almost like a bit of a pirate one. If you go towards the Roman too much, she will actually attack you because she will feel offended by you. And the other one, who is originally a Celtic born, but has like one side of the parents is Roman, the other side is Celtic. So he's basically very positive towards the advancements of the Romans, which means you can also trade with those, and they will be very happy if you lean more towards the Roman way of doing it. And both offer you trade goods and certain specific trade goods that have a positive or negative effect on how you're going on with your town, which I feel like is a very nice way of doing it. Again, unfortunately, I couldn't just get to that point in that little amount of time. I can't wait to play more. It's like really, it's been a while that I've been so sucked into a game, and I wanted to go on and do more. And I was also kind of happy that I did pretty well in this playthrough. I remember watching Corrales doing his playthrough, which I didn't find too bad, but I did understand what he meant. He was distracted a lot by things. I was too, but it still worked out pretty decently. So yeah, these two different traders and stuff is very nice to have. And again, as I said, I couldn't test it, but it definitely was very nice. Okay, now so we just go for some miscellaneous, basically some honorable mentions. So unfortunately, the no UI wasn't working in this build, but other than that, the first-person view was working, which is pretty cool. You can roam around. Let's see what I did here in your wonderful town and see everything up front. I have a bit of footage for you on screen right now, so you can see that. I definitely like that. I definitely think this is a very cool way to experience the cities, because that game. Maybe the footage doesn't even translate it, but oh man, does it look beautiful. It is so beautiful, my friends. It's really, the atmosphere, the music really is amazing. One thing I quickly wanted to mention, hopefully this is going to be changed. I was fiddling around a little bit with the UI. At some points, too many layers were open at the same time. So normally I always praised Anno for the great UI, and don't get me wrong, the UI is still very decent. But the windows kind of overlaid too much over each other. So so hopefully they're gonna fix that a little bit so that they are, I don't know, automatically stack upon each other, so that you'd see them all on screen. If I remember, I'm gonna put some footage on here so you can see what I meant, but that was a bit of an odd one, but it doesn't, you know, as soon as I got used to it, it was fine, but could be fixed, could be nice. That's definitely it to say about that. So other than that, I definitely did not have any bigger hiccups or anything. The game ran super smooth. It was very obvious what to do. You have these kind of side quests you can follow, or you can just leave it to them. But you also have a lot to manage. You know, there's a huge tech tree with way over 130 kind of elements to research. I just briefly checked this out and didn't really pay too much attention to it. Which again, you will have the option to research different ones depending which route you're choosing. So this is something that kind of keeps you busy the whole time, which is gonna lead me now to the conclusion. So you can tell I really enjoyed playing the game, and overall I can say it adds up to what already is known dramatically. This game will have an insane amount of depth, maybe even shockingly deep and shockingly loads of content, which is still, I guess it's working very well together, and we are looking at a situation where this game really brings together the best of all the worlds they have created so far. It really feels a lot like 1404 with the different worlds you had, but then it also has a lot of, you know, 1800 which brings in, and the graphics is amazing and just like really, really good. I just fear a little bit that it could be a tiny bit overwhelming because it's so much, but you know, I was just like, that was an hour. I needed to focus on doing a lot to test things out, so maybe without the pressure I would think completely different about this. But yeah, overall I'm pretty pleased. That was amazing to play. It was a lot of fun, and because I haven't played it myself before, I must say the option to go diagonally with the roads just adds up so much more. There's a lot to theme, there's a lot of different style elements and beautification elements. I didn't have the time to use them, but it's great to have them there. There's a lot of options to upgrade your buildings again, and it depends a lot on your research, and everything just makes sense. And coming from the Planet games lately, where the gameplay is mostly the point that we all have issues with, it's very nice to have a game that is super strong at that element and brings in so many different ways of playing. It's gonna offer you a crazy amount of replayability because of the different ways you can go. You can either go Roman or Celtic route, you can mix them up, or you can just focus too much on one, or you can try to balance them out. You can do this either one way or the other. You can have different islands even in that region, going for different regions. So there is a lot to test and try around what is the best balance, you know, to have. And as combat plays a huge role now in this game, we did get a quick demo of all the different military options and so on. Oh my god, it's so great looking, and it will actually play a way more deeper role than in the previous Anno. So land combat is going to be amazing. So yeah, a lot to talk about. I'll do this way more in the coming weeks. There's more coming about Anno as well, but also with the footage I have, I'm gonna make another wrap up after I've had the time to sit down again, watch my whole footage, see if I can spot something I missed out during my gameplay. And as I promised, the raw gameplay is gonna be online tomorrow too. So enjoy that one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Oh, also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and also if you want to not miss out on any Anno, Pax Romana related updates, content, whatnot. It's going to be featured on the channel, and I can't wait to play the game again. See you then. Bye.